Okay.
No rests.
All right, party people. Episode 10 coming at you. We are on No Vest Podcast. Jay, we are now in double figures. We're double. I think a lot of people didn't think we would make it this far. I know a lot of people were talking trash, and we made it. We're in the promised land. I think those first 10 episodes are the toughest 10. You really got to get your base people. You really got to get your content. Now I think it just, it's like we said, a snowball effect.
Yeah, it's only up from here, man. Things are on the up and up. I just placed a reservation for an indoor dining sesh at my favorite restaurant out here for the first time in over a year. So, little things like that. It's the little things.
It really is.
And yeah, just episode 10. Like it's it's not 100, it's not 1,000, but we're on our way.
We're well on our way.
It's the little things. We're just it's the little steps. And yeah, here we are.
We're gonna bring on a guest today for episode 10. My cousin Sam, coming out of Chicago, will be joining us a little bit later. But Jay, the Masters were this weekend, and I know a lot of people, they say they don't like watching golf. And to that, I have to ask you, do you like sleeping? Because golf it's the best thing to fall asleep to. People will say like the rain or whatever. No. It's golf. Even when they announce the big shots, like, it's like, did you see that? Like, did you see that? Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping right now? Because it was an absolute phenomenal shot. Wow.
Phenomenal shot. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know what you mean. It's calming. The guys have very calming voices. It's beautiful scenery.
Scenery.
Birds are chirping. You know what I'm saying? Whatever Chubb says in Happy.
And you can fall asleep. You can miss 5 holes, and who cares? You check the scores.
You come back tomorrow, there'll be it's like you can really get lost. I definitely don't watch golf, but to say that I'm not interested, that would be a lie. Like I definitely want to see who's taking home that green jacket. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal in sports, and I'm a sports fan.
So one of the things that I kind of got into during COVID, which a lot of my friends, they red flagged me for it, was I started watching bowling at a pretty dangerous clip. And bowling I bowl, and I now watch bowling. Bowling is extremely entertaining to watch. People don't realize how intense it is. And the commentary it's different. Like in major professional sports, like in basketball or football, they try to build up the hype, like, oh my God, like what a catch. And in golf, there's like that relaxation factor. They talk to you, it's calming, very calming voice. But in bowling, it's comedy, man. They like to goof around. They like to have some fun. It's like you're just drinking some beers and talking to a buddy at the bowling alley. Like they're funny, and it is also intense. Chris Prather, my boy. I love watching bowling, dude. It's something I've got into. It's really weird, and I probably should stop it, but it's something I've gotten into.
That's interesting. I'll have to, look into that to see, how true that the comedic factor plays, because that would be kind of fun. It's fun TV at that point, you know what I'm saying? No matter what you're watching. But.
One of the things I just randomly thought of this week was, I know we do a lot of red flags, red flag week, and there's some negative connotation there, like, oh, like these are red flags you got to watch out for. They're funny, they're good. I love that segment, but one of the things I would say you have to watch out for in a green light way, so green light go, this is basically the reverse of red flag, is if... Oh, Jay, did you just cut out?
What the hell just happened?
All right, but you're back. All right, ready? So the green light go version of, instead of, red flag of the week, green light go for me is if someone, someone likes you when this happens. And it's if they're willing to listen to your dream. Because if a buddy starts talking to me and he's like, yo, so like I had this dream last night, I think I'm with like 99% of the population where I absolutely stop listening. Like I'll give a couple head nods and I'll be like, yeah, Like
Weird.
that's crazy that happened in fantasy world in your dream. But if you find someone willing to listen to your dream story and like actually listen, they're like engaging with you. It's like I almost get weirded out. I'm like, why do you care? Like, because when you're the person telling the dream story, you want to tell it. You're like excited. And you're like, wow, someone's gonna get blown away by this dream. I mean, do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, yes, because like you said, if I ever do remember a dream, I usually want to tell someone. I just want to get it out there.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. But I'm not gonna lie, 9.5 times out of 10, whatever the math is on that, 95 out of 100.
Yeah.
I'm not remembering the dream. So it's I don't have any story to tell because I don't remember dreams, but that's kind of boring. So, but like, I just don't understand people. They just have such vivid memories of these dreams, and it's crazy. And yeah, like you said, they start telling you, and they go into extreme detail. And yeah, you lost me at very early on when you told me that it was just a dream.
Yeah, no,
So
I
it's
think
hard to
95% of people, when you say I had this crazy dream last night, they generally either hop into another conversation. I've seen that happen where they start doing the look around like, how can I get out of this? Or they go use the bathroom, or they just straight up just like they don't truly care. But if you can find someone to listen to your dream story, you know something special is going on there, because truthfully, I don't think I've ever listened to someone tell a dream story because they suck. They suck.
Yeah, if I really care enough, I'm a sucker at that point. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
You touched on something though, like when somebody's talking to you and you're looking for that escape out. You don't want to just straight up turn around and walk away from them when they're mid sentence. And you can even try that, but they just talk a little bit louder. So then you kind of like turn it. It's extremely awkward. I just want to. Somebody reach out to us and drop your tips for just getting out of awkward conversations.
So I wouldn't even say uncomfortable conversations, but obviously I started a podcast. I like to talk, and when I get into,
you're the guy I need to get away from. Is what I'm saying. I need tips.
No,
how
but
to
like
get off of this Discord call.
No, seriously though. But like when I'm at like larger events or something, and if a story comes up that someone I was with, it happened to like both of us, and he starts telling the story. And I'm like, oh, I was there, and everyone, I think I could tell it better because, you have those buddies. They're great guys, but they're not the best storytellers. So you hijack the story, and a lot of times, like, you're a good storyteller when someone will let you or be like, hey, like, take this over.
You tell them.
Yeah, you got it. Like, they get the first intro segment, and you're like, all right, leave it from there, because, you see these people out there who have good stories, but they could have like, the craziest, vaguest story or whatever, but they don't know how to tell it in a way that intrigues anyone.
Right. Yeah, they end up like kind of missing the whole point of the story. They forget why they're telling the story. And then eventually, halfway through, they're like, yeah, this story sucks. And now they have to like figure out how to wrap it up. So yeah, it's bad. And yeah, oftentimes I'll defer too. But yeah, you were there. Like, you go ahead and tell it, because I don't even really want to put the spotlight on myself like that. But, when the time calls, you do need to hijack stories, I will admit.
Absolutely hijack stories. If someone else is just talking about something boring, I'll just straight up cut them off and start talking about something that's more entertaining. Like, I've gotten to that level where I just don't have the time of day. I seriously, just on a Saturday, like, I want to value it, and, like, I don't want to listen to someone talk for, like, 5-10 minutes about something I don't care about. So it'll be like mid conversation with someone, we're in a group of like 6-7 people, and it's like, all right, okay, are you okay here? Okay, I'm just gonna I just completely take it.
Cut them off.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so here's what happened to me today, or let me tell this ridiculous story. Yeah,
I wish I had the confidence. Maybe it's a confidence thing, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, it's just like I can't. I somehow just sit. I get suckered into sitting there and listening to these people's awful stories and just like shit that I don't want to hear about. I just literally stand there and I nod all day. I need a way to get out. I need help.
No, the worst. I'll tell you this: if this applies to you, you gotta always get better at telling stories. I think that's crucial. I think you always have to read books. I think it makes you a better storyteller. But anyway, the number one problem people have, and I'll say this time and time again when they're telling stories, is just too many details. You know, I've especially, and I'm not. I almost want to make this gender specific, but I'm not going to. But the details that come with stories sometimes are so ridiculous. It's like, oh, who was in the car? Oh, Larry, Johnny, and Steve were in the car, and then we had to stop at Steve's parents' house, and then because he forgot his cell phone, and then we ended up
down the relation to each person. In the car.
No one. You could literally just say I was in the car with 4 people, and then you just get in the story. It doesn't matter who's. They have no point in the story. You have to.
If they do, like, I don't need the background. Just tell me what they did in the story. You know what I'm saying? I don't need the who, the why, the deep. Just knock off what happened. That's kind of all I'm here for. All the other is kind of extraneous at that point. I don't want to hear it.
I also think, like, because I am not the best listener. People have called me out on it more than once. I just they're like, "What did I say?" I'm like, I don't even know. I wasn't listening to a single word. I think when you get to the point where you like to tell stories and stuff, it can become a problem because you're thinking about what you're gonna say instead of what the person who's talking to you is saying.
You're not listening.
You're not listening at all, man. Sometimes you're just not. But speaking of storytelling, I mean, Jay, do we want to get into our guest, bring him on real quick and see what he has in store? Stories. I know he's been waiting. First guy on MVP, so we're gonna bring him on in just a second. Good. All right, you ready?
Yeah, we're live.
All right, we are on Novest Podcast, episode 10. We are welcoming in Sam Pinter, a.k.a. Spinter. Sam is known around Chicago for various things. Sam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I accidentally ate 4 gummy vitamins instead of 2 today, so my stomach is kind of in knots, but, we're working through it. Good. Ready to be here.
Awesome.
Ready.
That's an easy accident. They taste so good. You get carried away fast. You just bam,
I always
bam,
have
bam.
them first thing in the morning. Then at lunch, I thought I hadn't had them yet, so I took them again. And I was like, no, definitely remember having 2 purple ones this morning.
Uh-oh. Trouble. So, Sam, you are our first guy on MVP. I mean, it's a huge honor, I have to imagine. We had Erica Stupek, we had Sonia Kranz, now we have Sam Pinter. It's a great trio of people. We're just going to keep adding to the group. But what brings you? I mean, I actually know what brings you to Novest Podcast. You're a cousin of mine, so you're obligated to listen to episode 1. But then I found out, episode 6, 7 rolls around, and Sam is still shooting me texts. He's still tapping into MVP. So, Sam, is there something specifically that is keeping you coming back to the Novest Podcast?
I got to support the family, but I'm kind of like one of those silent Novesters, like just lurking in the background, listening in. You don't even know I'm there until I reach out. But no, I mean, I'm just tuning in for those red flags, the stories. A lot of the times I'm just wondering what you are even saying, but I'll listen. I'll hear what it is, and I'll hear you out. Even
so, are you seeing some of this play out, some of the red flags? I mean, do they apply to you? Because, we swim in a little bit different waters. Jay and I might be in fresh water, you might be in salt water, but do you see these red flags out in the field? Do they apply to you?
Some of them are kind of wild out there, like, how I handle my toothpaste. But, I actually went and looked at my own, and I was a little concerned that I was doing it all wrong. But no, some of the other ones definitely, like the astrology, the signs. Like, I've had plenty of people come up, on dates or things, like ask, like, oh, like, what's your sign? And immediately I'm like, oh no, where are we going with this? Like, how involved in this are you?
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's scary.
I've seen them. I'm related.
Well, that's good, and I'm sure you have. We'll get into that later. Of course, you may have some. You can enlighten the listeners on some, but yeah, no, they apply in any scenario. I think they're never. It's universal. I'd like to say. They say it's gender specific. They think I'm misogynistic. They think I'm just like trashing these girls. You know what I'm saying? But no, it goes both ways. Like, even if I'm doing some of these red flags, like I'm liable. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the line. So
I have plenty
they go
of red
both
flags.
ways.
So.
Yeah, no, I can admit to my red flags for sure.
Exactly. So Sam, the first topic I want to get into with you is you are, during quarantine, you almost got, or are, I'm not really on TikTok. I think Jalen's a big TikToker, but I'm not on TikTok, but you got famous a little bit on TikTok. You got a pretty big following. Can you you can shout out your username for our Novesters out there, but what's kind of going on here, Sam?
Yeah, well, back this summer, in quarantine, I was a little bored, so I uploaded a video that I had from like 2017. It was basically just a video about me going through the airport and my bag was just filled with entirely food. So I opened up the bag and kind of showed what was in it. It was all granola bars, single packaged M&Ms, and when I went through security, I got stopped and they had to basically scan through all the food, and it took forever, and basically they were so confused about my bag. So I go through that on TikTok and I uploaded it. And kind of like 24 hours later, all of a sudden my phone kept lighting up, and I'd be like, oh, I got a like, that's cool. And I kept getting more and more, and all of a sudden just all these likes started coming in on my phone. So I went into the app, and I was up at at that point I was at I don't know, 15,000 views, and I was like, whoa, what's happening? But then as the day kept going on, it kept getting more and more up to where it was at 100,000 views, and then it kept going and going, where I got up to almost 300,000 views, and I was starting to grow followers. I started with 4, and then by the end of that video, I was up to almost 1,000 plus.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. So I started posting just small little skits, because I did stand up and stuff around the city of Chicago. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing any of that with bars closed. So started posting a few skits, and some of those started taking off and got up to 700,000 views plus and kept going. And all of a sudden I started getting followers that just kept coming in, and I was up to almost 50,000 followers on TikTok within a month. And I was like, how did this happen? But it's funny because TikTok is a very young app. So I can see the analytics. Once you get to a certain level, you can start to see all your analytics and all this stuff. And I was looking at who's following me, and it's all these high school girls. And I was like, I know that's who's on the app, and that is where the money is in these markets. But I was just oh my God, I don't know if that's what I'm looking for, but it weirdly was 50% of my followers were in the US, the other 50 were in the UK. So I have a big following in the UK and the US, and it's all this high school level. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. But so, I don't know, it kind of just was this thing. I kept going at it for a little, but it's a lot of work. So I don't put out as many videos anymore. I haven't really put out videos for a few months because it was kind of fun in the summer, and I let it be my kind of little passion project for the time. And grew some followers, made some money from TikTok even. They paid me for views, and it was good. But I don't know. The rush of getting likes and views, I can say that, yeah, no, it didn't matter to me, but nothing, you'll never feel that rush of when your phone just starts buzzing constantly with like. I was going through my notifications just nonstop. It was just coming in with likes and followers. And I was like, yeah, I know why people do this now, why people continuously post or try to grow a following, because once it happens, it's you can't stop. You just want more.
Yeah, that's crazy. You got, just a small taste, and you like you said, you could see how people could get carried away with it and just kind of take it to the extreme, and now all of a sudden that's their whole life. You see it all the time. It's all these people oh, what is this guy do? It's oh, he's a TikToker. It's I guess it works for some people. I can't knock it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Jack said earlier I'm a big TikToker. I don't know if that's true. We tried growing the No Vest Pod channel. It did not. I gave up.
I never even downloaded the app. I refused to.
I didn't get much support from IT. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I refused to download the app, and I see some of the videos. Honestly, for the longest time, I didn't even know it was an app. I thought it was an Instagram filter that, or something people used to do just to doctor videos and post on Instagram. I didn't even know it was his own app. But I just see. I feel all the videos that go viral and stuff are just fake setup videos, and it used to be these videos occasionally you would see them and it's oh, that's set up, and now it's every video I watch, I'm the mom and dad or whatever, the grandpa, they're all in on it. We've gotten to the level of, okay, it's now 2021. I am no longer buying the just grandma who is super funny or says the wittiest comment or starts dancing on nowhere. I'm not buying it. It's all set up. Everyone's in on it, and it's a scam. It's a scam.
Prank videos.
They got the written
prank
up
videos.
scripts. Yeah.
Prank videos. Everyone knows what's going on, and the acting that like people get away with for like these pranks of like, no way, you totally got. It's like, people, you cannot be falling for these.
Yeah, come on.
Well, it's like the comments you'll go into it, and people are like, oh my god, that was so sick, dude. And it's like, could you not tell that was staged?
Like,
the whole thing?
why is she taking a nap on a sofa in a mansion in the middle of a like is this, and why is it a 7-minute video? Like, can you not prank someone in 20 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only you only practice. I mean, you only get like 3 times to prank people. Like, in my opinion, your whole life, and 2 of them are like at a sleepover with your buddy. One guy falls asleep early. You got the whole night to plan, and like that's actually funny. But these videos where it's all doctored, man, I can't click on any of them. But I click on them, and that's why people continue to do them. Is because it's like you said, it's addicting not only for the person who is putting out the videos. It's addicting for the the young kids that are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Yeah.
No bueno.
TikTok is one of those apps that it learns you pretty quickly, and it starts to throw out videos that they know you'll like. So like, once you're on the app for a little bit, it starts to figures out your interest based on things you like, and then it filters you into like these different genres. And for 1 second, all you know, you're on like frog TikTok watching like frogs hop around in like a dollhouse, and you're like, how did I end up here? But there's so many weird corners to that app that
it's a rabbit hole. Yeah,
you can get stuck there forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, TikTok is crazy. I will admit, and we don't have to get too deep into it because I'm sure that you've had a little bit of a little bit in there. The TikTok comment sections are ruthless. You go and like I see like just like wholesome little kids just like cooking, or like, oh, maybe they're like, oh, look at I made this painting, and you click on the comments and there's just these awful teenagers that have nothing better to do. And they're just terrible. It's the most toxic place I've seen on the internet is the TikTok comment section.
The comments are unbelievably toxic, and I've had some comments come in on mine where I just laugh so hard at the people like roasting me for like sometimes my age, the things I do, and I'm just like, I love a good roast to begin with. Like that is one of my dreams. Is like my 30th birthday party will be a roast. I want all of my friends to come and just roast me.
I like that.
But so like the TikTok comments section, I was sometimes just living for it, like these, 17-year-olds just like leaning in on about like how I look or my age or what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh my God, bring it. It is just, I'm living for this.
That is,
I can only imagine.
That is too funny.
I mean, it's toxic for a lot of other people where it's like a young kid showing their art and they're like, oh, that is so ugly. It's like, oh my God, just like, leave them alone.
That is too funny. I want to get into my favorite part of the week, as I've said before, red flag of the week. I think we got to do it. I think Sam, you've had enough time. You've listened to the episodes. You've thought about your red flag of the week. I think I went first last time. So Jay, why don't we start with you? What do you got going on over there in Cali tonight?
I'll start. So my red flag of the week. This isn't much of a build up. Usually I like to build them up, but this one's pretty simple. And I'm not gonna say like, oh, if a girl doesn't, because I'm gonna say if a guy, if I want you to call me out if I fall into this. If they don't know their way around the kitchen, at least a little bit. Like if you can't follow a simple like instruction and prepare something. And if you're just ordering out all the time, like it's DoorDash, you know what I'm saying? It's pizza delivery all week, you know what I'm saying? You can't prep a meal. I'm gonna have to say that's a red flag.
Sam, I'm pretty sure you fall. Sam, you fall into this category, right?
It is, you picked the perfect time to say this one.
That happens. That happens. I don't know.
Cannot work around a kitchen. I'm literally the worst cook. My sisters have like put me on applications for worst cook in America. Like I have to call them when I try to make a grilled cheese. I made a burger for the first time in quarantine, and like it stuck to the pan. I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I had to wash the meat. I didn't know. That was a genuine question. I was not sure. I didn't know if I was supposed to do that. I didn't know how to make a burger. I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to make grilled cheese. I think I've kind of mastered that, but otherwise, no. I am 100% making toast, peanut butter toast, cereal, oatmeal, that frozen pizza. I'm trying to get better. I've been taking a few like cooking classes from my sister, but
Okay.
no,
There you go.
100%.
You're taking
Red
steps.
flags right here.
You're addressing
Yeah.
your issues. And
Yeah.
you're taking steps.
Sometimes
And go ahead.
I was gonna say sometimes it's a crucial reality that you got to take an inward look when you hear red flag. You got to ask yourself, does this apply to me? And Sam's basically saying yes, that does. Now, Jay, you say you got to know your way around the kitchen. Now, I wouldn't say I know my way around a kitchen too well per se, but what I do bring to the table is I'm a grill master. So I know I have my area of expertise. Like I'll marinate wings, I'll bake them and I'll take them out and I'll grill them to perfection. Grill some steaks to perfection. I love grilling, especially in the summertime. Get a stogie, get a brewski, and just give me the veggies. I'll throw everything on the grill. And I love it. I work it to perfection. So I don't know if I know my way around the kitchen as much, but I got the grill down.
So
That's something.
I'm not sitting here and I'm not going to say that I'm Bobby Flay and I'm just preparing these elegant meals by any means. But I bring things to the table. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm being honest, for one, I have no problem being the dishes man at the end. I think that's a key role in the thing, and I'm a big prep guy. Like you need me to cut veggies, I can cut veggies, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Like I do bring things to the table. I'm not completely useless when it comes to it. Like Sam, if I gotta trust you with just some noodles, and you can't boil noodles.
I can boil water like none other. I
Okay,
make plenty of boxes of noodles.
So you can find your way. You can find your way.
One of my best skills with the amount of cereal I eat is after I put the cereal in the bowl, I am perfect at the amount of milk to go in, to where it comes to the last bit of cereal, I am getting the last bit of milk. I have it down to a science. Like no one adds the perfect amount of milk like I do to their cereal.
Wow.
And you do that in the kitchen so that you're in the umbrella.
Wow, it sounds like it's a bit of a stretch.
I can do the dishes. I can do all of that. I'm just the cooking part.
It's a bit of a stretch to claim your way around a kitchen when we're talking about how much milk goes into a cereal bowl. I think it's a big red flag if that's happening. But Sam, you want to go or you want me to go for RFW?
Sure, I'll take it.
Go ahead.
I've been working on this for a while because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on these red flags.
We like that.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah.
But no, okay. My red flag of the week is people who prematurely request a relationship status on Facebook. And I'm gonna preface this with a little bit of a story. So my senior year of college, I was home for spring break during the week, and so I wasn't doing anything one night. So I decided to go out on a date with a guy. We went to Chili's, good times. A little step up.
Great
from there.
Great place. Great place.
Great place. Love Chili's. Fancy establishment. But so basically went on a date. It was fine. After we talked a little, I was kind of like whatever about it. I was going back to Madison the next day for the weekend. So we talked a little bit after. It was whatever. I get back to Madison. Next day, I'm on Facebook and I see his name and then I see is in a relationship. I'm like, oh my God, I think I went on a date with someone who's like taken. Like I went on a date with a guy who's dating someone. And so then I go to my notifications and I see have a new relationship status request to be in a relationship with this guy. And I tell you, my jaw hit the floor. We went on one date to Chili's. I literally almost threw my phone in the garbage and said, I have no more need for this. I don't want to have anything to do with this. I go back to the status, and when someone puts a new relationship out there, those things get likes and comments.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Especially like your first like openly gay relationship for like someone like this to put it out on Facebook. At the time I was seeing it, it had over 100 likes and almost like 50 comments of people just saying like, congratulations, so happy for you. Like, can't wait to meet him. I bet he's a great guy. And I'm literally sitting there going, oh my God, This is about me. This is about me after one date at Chili's. Like, one, I was flattered because I was like, wow, someone is like that into me. They're like putting it on Facebook after just going to Chili's with them. But I'm like, I need to do something about this. So I text him and I'm like, hey, I saw your update on Facebook. I have to say I cannot accept this right now. Like I don't think this is going to work out. Like I'm going to be moving to Chicago. He was a junior in Milwaukee. I was a senior. And I was like, I just don't think this is going to work. Like I think we're on different pages. And immediately he texted me. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, how could you say that?" And I was like, kind of let it die down. Then the next morning I wake up and I get a text and he says, "Hey, I'm coming to Madison." And I'm like, no.
Stage 4 clinger.
Yeah.
Stage 4 clinger 100%. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do this. But we had talked and he like knew Madison kind of well. So he knew the building I lived in. And I was like, oh my God. So basically I was like, fine. If he wouldn't, he said he was on his way. He was driving. So I was like, okay, if we're going to, he's like, I want to talk about us. And I was like, oh my God, we went on one date. So I literally told him, if we're going to do this, I'm going to pick like the busiest place on campus. Because one, for my safety, I had no idea what he was going to do. Like, meet me at Noodles and Company for lunch. Like, if we're going to do this, I'm going to have my buttered noodles, extra seasoning with the Parmesan crusted chicken. That's the only way it's going to make it okay. Like, I need that to get through this. So I get to Noodles. It's packed. It's lunch. He orders. He tries to like go back and say like, "Oh, I'm getting his too." And I was like, "No. Like, we're here as separate people. Like, you're not. We're cutting that clear right to start." Sit down, and instantly he's just like, "So like, what happened?" I'm like, "I just have to say like, when I saw you request on Facebook, to be in a relationship, I knew we were on different pages. Like, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm moving. I'm a senior. I'm going to a new city. Like, I had a good time on the date, but it's just not gonna work out." Instant waterworks and hysteria. And now I'm thinking, like, I like attention, but that was one time I did not need all eyes on me because it was lunch rush at the Noodles and Company at the heart of campus. Everyone is staring at us because if you were in that situation, you would have thought that I basically just ended a 10-year relationship, like cheated on him with his 2 best friends, stole his house, car, like took everything he ever owned, killed his cat and fed it to him. Like, I was the worst person ever based on how he was reacting, just like crying as could be. And I was like, oh my God, I look like the biggest asshole. And literally to this day, I think that's why I have a problem with ghosting, because the time I didn't ghost someone, like, it turned out to this. So now I kind of am like, I don't know. If it's not going well, I kind of just disappear because I can't deal with that ever again. But
that might be a 2-in-1 red flag. The premature request, and then the automatic cry. If someone can just bust out and hysterically cry on command, that's scary. Yeah, and the thing about these red flags is when you're in these murky waters, the waves. You may not see that red flag, like whatever. You were flattered. You said, "Wow, this person really this into me." But this is a little sketchy, and that's the thing about the red flags. They're definitely sketchy.
If I got a relationship request for every time I went on a one date at Chili's, I would have 20 relationship requests. One, Chili's is awesome, so the guy clearly knew what he was doing on the first date. That's a great first date spot, and that is an absolute insane story. I'm shocked you even met up with the guy. I mean, I probably would have just called it quits.
Probably should have not
immediately.
Part of me, I like to put myself in situations where I know things could kind of go a little weird, because then the story.
I was gonna say, Sam, you like to tell your stories, and you wanted to see this story through. You're like, it's a good story now, but if I meet up with him at Noodles in Madison, it could turn into an MVP epic story.
Exactly. That was for sure going through my head. I was like, yeah, it may be bad in the moment, but like, we got to live through this story. So yeah.
That's awesome. Jay, actually, you should just do like a little every now so often, so we know you're not, because sometimes sometimes I think you're frozen and you actually aren't frozen. Okay. So yes.
Left off, it's gonna be your red flag of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Sam, that was an absolute ridiculous red flag of the week. You heard it. I think everyone kind of knows it. If you get the premature Facebook or social media request to be in a relationship and you're not feeling it, that's obviously pretty big, major red flag. So my red flag of the week, and this is I like this one a lot. So. There's a story behind it, so I'm going to build it up a little bit. So I was on a walk with someone, my neighbor or whatever, and
Jack goes on lots of walks. I just want to put this out there. That's his new bag.
Well, because
it's in the family. Okay, I need to get up on this.
It's in the family, and it's free. It's fun.
It's free.
It's exercise. There's not a lot of commitment that goes on at walks too. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh. But basically, let me get into my bag real quick.
That's a later conversation.
It's a later conversation. So
go ahead.
My red flag of the week is, I'm on this walk, and I throw out, basketball came up, and I was like, oh, a long time ago I used to, play on a travel basketball team. Like, oh, what team do you play for? I'm like, oh, the D-Wade All-Stars. And she goes, I don't know who that is. And I go, oh, you don't know who D-Wade is? Dwayne Wade. And I say, Dwayne Wade. And she goes, yeah, I don't know who Dwayne Wade is. And I'm like, well, Gabrielle Union. She's like, no, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. But you'll be able to recognize a picture of Dwayne Wade when I pull it up. So I pull up a picture of Dwayne Wade, and still nothing. So I'm like, whoa, that's a major. And, she's from Illinois, and she goes to Marquette. Now, the most famous person ever to go to Marquette University is Dwayne Wade. And he came from the inner city of Chicago. So to not know who Dwayne Wade is, and then that was a red flag. And so then I had to throw out all these other celebrities to be like, okay, do you know Tom Cruise? Do you know Tom Hanks? Do you know Kanye West? Like, I had to run down the list of people, because if you don't know who Dwayne Wade is, and it's not a basketball thing either. People just know Dwayne Wade. He's a household name. Like, they know LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It's not like you have to be a basketball fan to know who Dwayne Wade is. Like, people know who Alex Rodriguez is, but they don't, they're not baseball fans. Like, he's an A-list celebrity. So not know who Dwayne Wade is, I had to absolutely, it's a yellow light. It's my red flag of the week. You got to know who D Wade is.
Yeah, I get it. It's more surprising, to have gone to Marquette and not know Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm fascinated by people who are just so out of touch with the celebrity world, though, where you can name any celebrity and they just don't know who they are. But I think there is a little bit of a red flag of how are you so, unaware of some of these very big names? What else are you missing out on?
And that's why I had to run down the flag of people. I had to be Kanye West, Kim Kardashian. I had to where's that threshold where it's okay, you don't need to know Daniel Craig per se, but I need to know where you're at in terms of celebrities. I gotta know.
Now, I thought you were just telling the story, but did you actually jump from Dwayne Wade to Tom Hanks, or did you say Tom? I want to know how you made that jump, and if did they know Tom Hanks after they didn't know Dwayne Wade?
No, they knew all the big name celebrities that I threw out. It just seemed like Dwayne Wade was just lost for whatever reason. Just didn't know Dwayne Wade. Or Gabrielle Union. And it's Dwayne Wade is also just the coolest guy in the world. You see Dwayne Wade and you're just that man's cool. You never see Dwayne Wade in a scenario where you're yeah, D-Wade's awesome. He's always dressed cool. He's always super relaxed. He's really well spoken. It's really hard to just not be a D-Wade fan. You know what I'm saying? And to go to Marquette and not know the most famous person by a moonshot, it is what it is. It is what it is.
They put on a bad rep for Marquette by not knowing Dwayne Wade. That's bad. That's definitely bad.
Jalen, your audio's bad and your camera's been paused for 10 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, what is going on over there, Jay? You're not even in the episode. All right, well, yeah, that was my red flag. You heard it here. If you don't know who D Wade is, you gotta absolutely pump the brakes. That's big time. That's big time red flag right there. Jalen's what was Jalen's again? Oh, if you don't know your way around the kitchen, you can't be with Jay Fish. Pinter fell into that category for sure. And then Sam's was if you send out the relationship status prematurely. That's a big red flag. So Sam, I wanted to get into another story. So here's a question that I have for you, because like I said, we swim in different waters, but a lot of it's kind of the same. But my question was to you was, because I always kind of had this theory, right, where people set up people on blind dates, but I feel like, I've even caught my mom doing it, or maybe my sister, or just, I think it's a woman thing to do when they have like a gay friend and then someone else has a gay friend. They're just like, okay, I know 2 gay guys. I don't know anything they have in common, but I know that that's the one mutual thing between the 2 of them. And so I'm going to set them up, and hopefully, and they make the assumption that it'll always work. Have you seen that, or have you dealt with that at all? Is that a real thing? Am I making a good assumption here?
All the time. Anytime I meet a new person and like we're kind of like hitting it off and it's a new like girlfriend or something, they always mention like, oh, I have this friend, you 2 would be great together. And I'm always like, oh, okay, why? And they're like, oh, well, he's gay. And that's like it. That's like the only baseline. Like, they also like dudes. Like, no other compatibility. But I have been set up on countless blind dates. And every time I show up, and some of these are like actually blind, like I didn't even see pictures before. It was literally just like, go to this place at this time, you're going to meet this person. And every time I show up for these blind dates, I always am like, what do people see in me that this is who they're like setting me up with, that they think I'll be compatible with? Now, I have a high self-esteem, and maybe it's a little delusional. I don't care. But you know what? Got to think highly of yourself. Like, I'm walking around as a 10 here. And I go on these dates, and I meet these people, and I'm just like, literally, I think the only thing that they thought was, this guy also likes guys. And I look at them, and I'm like, if they think I'm going to get along with this person, and like we're going to be very compatible, like, what do they think of me? I'm just like, what do you see in me that you thought this would work? But no, it happens all the time. But I've had friends before where they were out getting dinner, and they were like, I have this waiter, he's the greatest, we've been talking to him, I set you guys up to get coffee tomorrow morning at 11. I'm like, oh my God. So one day I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I go to the coffee place at like 15 minutes before. I send him a text because I had his number. We hadn't really even talked before. And I said, hey, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Didn't get a text, but I walk in. The place was like decently busy. I pick a table and I say like, hey, I have a table here. Immediately looks next to me, and it's a couple I met when living in the dorms in Madison. And it's like the perfect couple. Like, they're both going to med school, basically just the couple in our dorm that everyone was always like in love with their relationship. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting down next to these 2 people and I'm about to go on a blind date. So I look at them and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you guys? They're like, oh yeah, we're just studying for med school. I'm like, oh, nice. I'm just here getting coffee with someone I don't even know what they look like. All I know is he likes dudes. But so I'm sitting there, like, that's the baseline when you get set up on dates. And I'm sitting there and like 10 minutes go by and I'm like, hey, just wanted to see if you're on your way. And I'm still hearing nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, my friend set me up on a blind date this time, but the guy, she totally didn't read the room with him correctly, and he was not into it, and he didn't even show up. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, now there's 2 people next to me that I know, and I told them that I was meeting someone. So I was like, how do I get out of this knowing he's not showing up anymore and I have to leave? So like my panic self, I just like stood up, look at them and go, got the wrong place, and like bolted out of it quickly. It made it so uncomfortable, like, oh, silly me, I'm at the wrong coffee shop, and like bolt my way out of there.
Oh, that's funny.
It happens all the time. I mean, like you said, your sister has set me up on some blind dates. That's the one where I showed up and one of the first questions was, what's your sign? And I was like, oh gosh, is he going to check our compatibility right away with our astrology signs?
Yeah.
It's just like, these dates I go on are just sometimes kind of wild.
So it sounds like the percentage is very good on these blind dates. It's not a lot of high success rate, you'd say.
I'd say I've been on a handful of blind dates, like upwards of like 5 or more at this point, and I've never gone on a second date from one of them. The success rate is very low.
Like, do you have like do people ask you like what's your type? Like Jalen has a specific type. Like, he likes like Korean women that are taller than 5'11". Like, he has this specific type. Like, do you have a type where you're like, okay, like blonde hair, blue eyes, I want someone to look like me? Do you have like a specific, like, do you have a type out there that you're looking for? Is it just kind of like, oh, I'll know when I know if it's right, it's right, or are you kind of like, hey, if someone hints like, oh, I mean, what's going on here, Sam?
I mean, to be honest, I try to say I don't have a type because I truly don't think I do. But there are things, like certain things I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking for someone who's kind of outdoorsy, like kind of into sports like I am, things like that. And I'll get set up on these dates where it's just so far from that. And it's nothing against that person, but it's just like the people don't even really think about what I'm looking for. It's just kind of like, oh, I know another dude that likes dudes, so here you go. You two are perfect together. I mean, it's kind of wild because it's essentially the same of like any girl I met that I knew was into guys. I would just be like, oh, my cousin Jack, like you and him would be perfect. You've
never set me up. Wait, hold on. This is fake news on MVP.
No, not fake news. I'm saying that's the equivalent. It's
okay.
Just like I met every girl I meet. I would just have to be like, oh, you'd be great with Jack because he likes girls. He likes girls, so you are a perfect fit. That's essentially like exactly the same thing.
I'm just glad. I'm glad we put that out there on MVP. I do like women. And yeah, Sam is
never will.
I don't think you will, but that is good stuff right there. Jalen, anything you want to add from the penalty box while you're sitting in there? Jalen's camera's having some Jalen's camera's just not on board.
I feel slightly exiled. We're dealing with technicalities again. I guess I want to compare his success rate to Jack's blind date success rate. You guys seem to both have experience. I want to know what's your situation? What are you seeing out there, Jack?
You're asking me? I've never
on the blind dates. What's your success rate?
I don't go on blind dates. Like, I've had like parents like set me up and stuff. But it's never
essentially you never with a person you've never met, someone set you up with a date. That's a blind date.
No, I've never gone on a blind date. No. I can't say that I have. I've always.
It's also myself though agreeing to these situations because I know something's interesting is gonna happen if it's a blind date.
Like basically what you're hearing here is Sam's a big story guy. He loves to go on these blind dates because he knows there's a chance, they work. You get excited. You're like, this could hopefully work out. But at the end of the day, Sam likes the ones that don't work out almost better because they make hilarious stories.
I'm trying to be experience. So I'm trying to avoid being the meat of the story. I don't want to have some guy on the podcast like telling some stories about me or girl, whatever. Because I'm all the red flags that I have. I'm just the blind dates. That's risky waters, if you ask me.
So Sam, last topic, real quick. I wanna get into before we sign you off here is a lot of people that I know that have lived in Wisconsin or grew up in Wisconsin that have then moved to the Chicago area, bandwagon the Cubs World Series, and now it's not starting to look as good as it used to. Do you have any regrets about that, or what was the thought process behind that? Did you think that they were going to be like the reigning champs, like they were going to go on some crazy long run, like a 10-year, win the pennant every year, or did you just sell out? Are you a sellout, Sam? What's going on there?
100% a sellout, mostly because I don't care about baseball a ton, and I won free World Series tickets, so I had Game 4 tickets or whatever one they won at home, the last game they had at home. I won tickets to that game, and so I went and bought my first Cubs apparel that day and went to the game, and I decided I wasn't going to be rooting in that atmosphere, I was not going to be rooting against the Cubs. I was going to become a full Cubs fan that day, and I decided I have to live with it from then going forward. But do I regret it? No, I got to watch them win a World Series and be excited about it. As excited as can you be when you've been a fan for 3 days. But there we go.
There you go. All right, that is Sam Pinter, aka Spinter. Follow him on TikTok. Sam, what's your username? Is it just Spinter on TikTok?
Spinter18. You can find me anywhere.
Spinter18. Yeah, find him. Hit him up on the socials. Tell him he did a good job. Sam, those were some awesome stories. Great to get your perspective. Like I said before, you know, the waters are murky, whether you're swimming in fresh water or salt water or whatever water you're swimming in. The waters are murky. Got to be careful out there. Sam, anything you want to say before you sign off to all of our Novesters out there?
No, I mean, it was a good time. I'm excited to have been your first male guest on No Vest, and there we go. Made a little rhyme as I walked out the door.
There you go. Awesome. All right, that is Sam Pinter signing off. Thanks, Sam. All right, well, that was Sam Pinter, a.k.a. Spinter, joining us. Great to have him on. Always good to get the extended family. I know I got some more extended family that wants to come on. Got a lot of people making requests to get on the show, which I think is absolutely awesome. Jalen's back out of the penalty box. We put him in there for 5. He's officially back on MVP. Jay, you might be a guest at this point. You know, you don't get a lot of FaceTime on this show anymore.
Yeah, I felt a little bit left out. You know, me and Tech Guy are going to be working overtime to make sure things like this don't happen anymore. But you know, it's a work in progress. People get to see the bare bones of this. You know what I'm saying? We're building this from the ground up, so it's all part of it.
All right. Anything you want to say before we sign off? Excuse me, but real quick, I do want to sound off. Follow us on all of our socials at NoVest. You guys know where to find us: Spotify, Apple, YouTube. And just keep the good stuff rolling. We appreciate it. You know, we put in a decent amount of time into doing this, so we appreciate all the outreach that you guys give us. And we'll be back here same time next week. Keep rocking with us, and we'll keep rocking with you guys. Jay, anything you want to say? I know you spent a lot of time in that box, man. Not a lot of. This is Jay's lowest usage of the year by far.
I came out just to let the people know, like and subscribe on the YouTube. Let's get our YouTube turned up. Drop a comment, you know what I'm saying? Roast us, let Jack know how dust his goatee is. I gotta say it every week. But blow up, like and subscribe YouTube, and you'll see us back next Thursday.
I didn't even get into where we going with this, Jay, this week, and it's really making me upset. So we'll have to get into that next week. Want to thank everyone who listened. Free t-shirt giveaway. I didn't have anything in my bag, but I guess I'll throw out John McCullough. I'm putting one in the mailbox for him. So Johnny Mac, if you're listening, we'll get you hooked up with a hashtag NoVest t-shirt. Just want to thank all of our people out there, and we'll be back. Thank you.